Well. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the show. It is Thursday. You know what that means. We got to be saying some FTGs today because fuck them. I'm just telling you, it's one of those. There's so many. Also, yesterday, I apologize for the mishap at the end of the show. All my tabs, if you were trying to come back and look at the tabs yesterday, for whatever reason, the one tab thing didn't click the right day. So I got to redo up those. I'll put them in the description of that video sometime today. But anyway, happy Thursday. I hope you're ready for the weekend. It's this close. Not this close, but this close. And hopefully you'll got some good plans. I know I do because my mother's in town and we're already having some fun taking her around to some places anyway. So I don't have anything else for this pre-intro, so play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, coming to you live from the Lucky Dog studio in a hidden location somewhere in the upper Midwest of the United States of America, it's a brother making his own way but with all the wrong opinions. Welcome to the Morning Night Live with your host, yours truly, PDawgKnight. Alrighty then, stop the music. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Morning Night Live. I am your host, Marty, also known as PDawgKnight on the internet, and welcome back to the PDawgKnight Channel. And today is Thursday, the 7th of October, 2021. Hope you're having a beautiful morning. I've got my cup of reparations in the cup that my mother probably would not appreciate, but hey, it is what it is. Resist fascism, because we should always do that. And it's delicious too. So, hope you're having a good morning. I am. I had a nice breakfast. I had some eggs and toast, and I've got my coffee, and now I'm just ready to sit back and yell out a couple FTGs. And of course, without saying, let's go, Brandon. It's just the requisite FTG to Joe Biden. And you know what? While we're at it, how about an FTG to Dr. Fauci? Because I don't even need to read anything about him to give an FTG to him. Anyway, let's say good morning, everybody, and get the show going, because I'm just going to try to plow through this today. I have a bunch open, and I might even open more if I have time, but let's get it going. First in the chat today, wait, let me pin this message, was Mike Savage, Blarg, and you get the bell. Good morning. Up and at him. Also, good morning, Jonathan Peterson. Hello, TC. Good morning, Maddie. And Ronan in the background, I'm sure. Also, good morning, Somnambule Nation. Good morning to, I didn't tweet out the show. That's what I forgot. Also, good morning to DI Freighter Watcher, Aaron Meredith, Jaeger Pony, my favorite Canadians in the house. Rotten Corpse is here. Good morning. Seamus Derby, Attack Alpaca, Lord Stanhope, Joe Dirt. Whoa, nice to have you back. I haven't been around in a while. So let's do this. I need to tweet out the show, and I apologize for doing the dirty work during whilst I'm talking, but I kind of need to do that, and I feel bad because I should have had that done already. But you know, sometimes life bites you in the ass. And so how about y'all just talk amongst yourself for a moment while I take care of business that I should have been doing beforehand. I feel bad. Copy, or X and paste. And is streaming live. Oops. Live now. There we go. Well, sort of. Anyway, it really is streaming live now. So I bet you're wondering what the title's about. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. Oh, good morning, Will at Forge, too. Chilling with the family in Seneca Lake for a trip. Oh, nice. You're in upstate New York? Seneca Lake. I'm not sure what that is. But maybe I'll get a chance to visit it sometime. So FTG Fauci, Biden, Merrick Garland, and any other beetle-eyed rat weasel advocating for the fascist control of our country. You know, if you watched the show yesterday and you saw this nonsense about the FBI and the Justice Department investigating parents who come to voice their opinion at some of these school board meetings, yeah, that is about as fucking fascist. I'm already swearing. I can't believe it. That's about as fascist as you can get. I am just, I'm dumbfounded that they think that's a good idea in the United States of America. You know what I'm saying? It's just so, gosh, what is well, it's so fascist. These parents are coming, and well, part of it too is if you look at some of the people they're appointing to the some of the departments of education posts, which we'll get to a little bit later, you'll kind of get why this is so it's so what's the word? Insidious is the word. It's so insidious. And there's this whole equity bullshit that they keep pushing. There's no such thing as equity. There's no such thing as equal. There's no such thing as everyone being equal, everyone turning out equal, everyone having the same results, everyone having exactly the same thing. And you never get better if there aren't people who are better, who have better results, because no one else will aspire to more better results. You may or may not have heard that in the music. So you're never going to have better if there isn't something better to aspire to. So I just don't get this whole push, this they think they can repair something by calling it equity. Good morning, Sora Luna. Good morning, Baby Vaso. By the way, first sponsor of the day, Baby Vaso. And Baby Vaso,
you are the new Streamlabs Superstar sponsor of the day.
Thank you for being the first sponsor of the show today, and I appreciate you very much. Baby Vaso says, from what I can gather, hip-hop, jazz, swing, disco, or the blues, etc., aren't as celebrated now than they were 30 to 40 years ago. That being said, what kind of music did you listen to back then? And are there any new age genres of music that you fancy? Now that's out of left field, and that's okay. I appreciate the question. And growing up, there was a lot of the pop stations played a pretty wide variety of music for the most part. I mean, you'd have funk, you'd have rock, you'd have kind of folk rock, you'd have all kinds of stuff. So I mean, my musical taste growing up ran the gamut. I mean, you go from funk bands like Wild Cherry or the Ohio Players, or Commodores were more of kind of R&B funk band. Earth, Wind and Fire. I loved all that kind of stuff. But I also dug, in the 80s, I really liked rock, AC/DC, and even some of the hair bands, Motley Crue, Poison. That was more in the 80s and 90s. But James Taylor, loved James Taylor. I love like Carly Simon. I just thought a lot of her stuff was written by Carole King, but they wrote a lot of great music. Loved Parliament Funkadelic, Bootsy Collins, and then also there was a group out of Omaha they're called Fresh Air, Mannheim Steamroller, and they were from Omaha, and they were really, really popular there before anyone had ever heard of their Christmas albums and stuff like that. So you go through the Fresh Air series. I have the entire Fresh Air series on DVD, or excuse me, on CD, which is kind of a how do you describe Fresh Air? Fresh Air is kind of classical rock fusion. So anyway, so that's kind of but yeah, as far as genres, man, we went through it all. I mean, look, I was in ninth grade when Rapper's Delight came out, Sugar Hill Gang. That was just something that it was almost revolutionary listening to that, even though there was other forms of rap before that. I'm trying to think, like, well, Dougie Fresh was kind of later on, but so anyway, I mean, it ran the gamut, but you know, the pop stations, you got a little bit of all of that. So, you know, I only dislike music from people who are dirty pedos like Bono. Yeah, is he a dirty pedo? I don't even know. I'm not sure. I've never heard that before. Anyway, yeah, Chip Davis, Somnambule Nation. You know who Chip Davis is? Yeah, he's the kind of the brains behind. Well, he's one of the brains. All four of them really were phenomenal musicians and really contributed. But Chip Davis wrote a lot of the Fresh Air music. It was great stuff, man. And the fact too that I was a musician, I played, you know, saxophone, and I learned to play most woodwind instruments by the time I left high school. And I also sang. I was a voice major in college my first 2 years, and so I'm just fascinated by genres of music. And in fact, like I even enjoyed some country music when I was a kid. I mean, you listen to Charlie Rich, or you listen to oh fuck, what's the Gambler, Kenny Rogers, or you know, even some early Dolly Parton stuff. I mean, like I said, it ran the gamut. The Grassroots, the Hollies. Oh, the Hollies are great, and the Hollies are before my time, but they. Although let's see, He Ain't Heavy, I think came out in like 1968 or 69, so I was like 4 years old. But that song was popular on like AM radio. Oh, and the other things I like too, a lot of stuff my parents listened to. I just love Nat King Cole, and I love stuff by the Brat Pack. I mean, Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, Sammy Davis. Just, you know, I love that music too. So it's, you know, it's hard to pin down specific music that I found myself listening to. So anyway, real quick, let's catch up and then get the show on the road here. Good morning, Lord Stanhope. Good morning, Jim Beam. Good morning, Avocados Diablo, the Devil's Advocate. And while you're all here, remember, hit the like button during the show if you like what we do. Also, please share the stream. That's very important to the success of the show. And I finally just clicked the tweet button. I'm on social media almost everywhere at PDawgKnight, particularly Twitter, Gab, Minds, Parler, CloudHub, and Getter, where I put notifications out. So if you're on one of those platforms, go ahead and subscribe to me there, and you'll get the notifications on those platforms if you use those on any regular basis. And if you want to sponsor the show, you can do it through Streamlabs. You can do it through YouTube Super Chat if you want to give Susan 30%. And there's a couple other options down in the description down below. And if you watch the show on PDawgKnight.live, which it's going right now, you can also, that thing will be right in the upper hand corner. If you have an inspiration, you can do it right there on the same page. All right. So let's get into the show. Oh, did I do this Getter one? Hang on. Did? Yes, I did. Okay, I can close that window. So the theme of the show today, well, it's FTG Thursday, of course, because that's what we do on Thursdays. But the name of the show, the name from the show, comes from a story that just, if I was one of those people who would rage and cuss and swear, which occasionally I do, this show would have me doing it. Good morning, James Colley. What's up? No, my real mom said I don't have to listen. Well, my real mom says sleep upstairs, so I have to be, I can't rage. So anyway, this story just has me just effing mad. And I think it'll make you mad too. You may have heard it already. And I found this on Behind the Black. I saw it somewhere else, but here's where I have it right now. So there's an American woman in the United States of America. There's a woman who was denied a kidney transplant in Colorado because she has not taken the jab. I'm thinking, first of all, just the headline itself says to me that your medical ethics are absolutely effed if this is if this is how you go. Oh, Sora Luna, how you doing, by the way? Persecution is now cool. A woman who has stage 5 renal failure was suddenly told by UC Health, which is the University of Colorado Health System. And you know what? Let's just get this out of the way right now. FTG, UC Health. Just before her kidney transplant operation, that she was banned from the hospital because both she and her husband, or her donor, excuse me, both she and her donor have not taken the juice. Quote, here I am willing to be a direct donor to her. It does not affect any other patient on the transplant list, Jamie Fogner, Leilani Lutali's kidney donor, told CBS4. How can I sit here and allow them to murder my friend when I've got a perfectly good kidney and can save her life? Lutali said she received a letter from Colorado Health System, UC Health, at the end of September explaining that she and Fogner have 30 days to begin the jab process. They would be removed from the kidney transplant list if they refuse the shots. I said, I'll sign a medical waiver. I'll sign a waiver for the transplant itself, releasing them from anything that could possibly go wrong, said Lutali. It's surgery. It's invasive. I will sign a waiver for my life. I'm not sure why I can't sign a waiver for the juice. According to the article, when they first scheduled the surgery in August, they were told by the hospital that being jabbed was not a problem. This changed suddenly in late September. At the last moment, it appeared the patient, Lutali, had decided against getting any jab because of its many unknowns, including the adverse and very serious reactions that many patients have experienced. The donor, Fogner, has not gotten the jab for religious reasons. Both patient and donor are now trying to find a hospital outside of Colorado to perform the operation. The most insane quote from this article is this, and I quote, UC Health said it implemented the juice policy for the safety and health of its patients. UC Health is certainly not protecting Lutani's safety or health because of its irrational fear of a disease that kills less than 1% of those who get it. UC Health has essentially sentenced this woman to death. Note, too, that both the patient and donor have waived any liabilities for the surgery because of its high risk. Why block it over a virus that is far less deadly? Why can't they sign a waiver for stupid 19 as well? Idiotic and cruel decisions like this from too many of today's healthcare professionals has destroyed the entire reputation of the scientific and medical community. People once trusted their judgment because the goal has been above all to find the truth and to best serve the patient. That trust is now gone because of stupid actions like this. Unbelievable. Unfreaking real. Now, Michelle Malkin, if you're a fan of Michelle Malkin, wrote a sort of an op-ed in CNS News called Comply or Die, Vex Parthite in the Operating Room. For nearly 20 years, this is Malkin speaking. For nearly 20 years, I've been reported on America's medical welcome mat for chronically sick illegal aliens. Under 1986 federal law, unauthorized immigrants and quote-unquote illegal aliens with conditions such as kidney disease or cancer cannot be denied emergency room care regardless of their immigration status or inability to pay. Open borders politicians insist healthcare is a right that every last border jumper is entitled to and that every last American taxpayer must subsidize. According to estimates from 2019 cited in a recent study published by the American Journal of Kidney Disease, there's between 5,500 and nearly 9,000 illegals with kidney failure in the U.S. There's now a stupid 19 era push to provide them not only with an emergency room dialysis and at an estimated cost of $400,000 per illegal alien per year, but also with outpatient dialysis under Medicaid. Conveniently, the United Network for Organ Sharing and Organ Procurement and Transplantation Network do not document immigration status. So there are no reliable estimates of exactly how many illegal aliens have received organ transplants in the U.S. At least one scientific journal article identified 400 illegal aliens who have received kidney transplants since 2005, most in California, at the taxpayer's expense. Keep all this government-backed generosity for illegal alien patients in mind as I tell you about the plight of Leilani Lutali, a law-abiding American citizen and Colorado Springs executive recruiter diagnosed with stage 4 kidney disease in November 2020. Her condition worsened over the summer, leading her to medical providers at UC Health in Denver to begin discussion of an organ transplant. Blessed with a close-knit network of friends through her local Bible study, Leilani found a living donor in Jamie Fogner, a former Air Force medic, triathlete, and medical assistant who has spent more than 2 decades in the healthcare field. It was an easy decision to make, Jamie reflected. Why would I not want to save my friend's life? Everything was moving along smoothly until last week when Jamie's donor coordinator at UC Health asked her about her juice status. Jamie is unjuiced and won a religious exemption from her employer's jabber job mandate. Leilani has already had COVID-19 and told me she already tested positive for antibodies. Like Jamie, Leilani has religious objections to the COVID-19 juice manufacturer's use of aborted fetal cells. Oh, I bet you didn't know that part. Did you know that part about the aborted fetal cells? And yeah, they've confirmed that. By the way, good morning, King on Common Law, Gunfox61, Cashapp. Glad you're here, guys. No matter, trust the science. Stop asking questions, comply, or die. Leilani and Jamie told me they were informed by one of the transplant coordinators that if they did not submit to the juice, the juice, where did I make on last page there? If they did not submit, oh man, that thing jumped like a mug. What the hell? Okay, Jamie told me they were informed by one of the transplant coordinators that if they did not submit to the COVID-19 juice, their transplant journey would come to an end. Are you fucking serious? They're going to let a woman die. They're going to let her die. They would let her die for not taking this juice. Something that 99.8% of people survive. As a COVID survivor, I myself can attest. Leilani's now been put on the inactive list, a death sentence. I reached out to UC Health, whose communications vice president Dan Weaver confirmed in a statement to me that in almost all situations, transplant recipients and living donors at UC Health are now required to be vaccinated against the 19, in addition to meeting other health requirements and receiving additional vaccinations. Welcome to Vaxpartheid in the operating room. In their discussions with Leilani and public relations materials sent to me, UC Health officials have imperiously compared exercising the choice to decline the COVID-19 juice to irresponsible behavior such as smoking or drinking before or after an organ transplant. Really? Really? Are they denying organ transplants to smokers? Are they denying organ transplants to people who drink? I don't think so. Ridiculous, as Leilani told friends and family in a Facebook post about her plight. I've done the research on transplant patients, and there isn't substantive evidence that the juice shot can even provide antibodies to fight off the Delta variant post-transplant. Jamie adds that the COVID-19 juice clinical trials excluded severely immunocompromised patients, and a peer-reviewed study in the Journal of Hepatology published in August found poor antibody response after COVID-19 juice among 61% of liver transplant patients and 24% of patients with chronic liver disease. Colorado State Representative Republican Tim Geithner heard about Leilani's case and blasted UC Health's decision as disgusting in a Facebook livestream video, which of course has already been appended with the narrative control freaks pro-COVID-19 vaccine disclaimers. Leilani's case brings a great concern for many of us where, based on your juice status with COVID-19, you would actually be denied care. Indeed. Where does this stop? Jamie asks. If it's okay to deny life-saving transplants to the unvaxxed and cancer patients next? Yes, my fellow citizens, we have now arrived at the insane point in America where unlawful immigration status provides more protection than unvaccinated status, and where health care is a taxpayer-subsidized right for indigent illegal aliens, but not faithful pro-life Christians who stand up against medical tyranny. I didn't want to be the poster child, Leilani told me Monday, but after much thought and prayer, she came forward to be a voice for those who have no voice. All it takes is one to become hundreds, thousands, and millions in such time as this. Who in power will speak for Leilani? Please stand up. The clock is ticking. So, good work, Michelle Malkin. Regardless, some people like her, some people don't. I think she's all right, and even though sometimes she's hyperbolic, but she's 100% spot on this one. All right, let's move on here. Oh, and speaking of, here's another one though. Here's another. I laugh at these. So remember that guy where the court ordered that a court ordered that he be allowed to try the human form of the, how do you say this without saying it? The one that they called a horse paste bullshit, whatever, but it has the human version. Okay. So this man dies of COVID after hospital rejects a court order for ivermectin. According to a report, a 75-year-old New York man died last weekend after a hospital refused to give him the drug ivermectin. Now, we don't even know if this would have helped, but the court ordered to give it to him as a last resort try, and they refused to give it to him. They refused to give him the drug in a last-ditch effort to save his life, despite an order from a judge. An exclusive report from News 10 NBC's Jennifer Luke revealed, according to Jeremy L. Carter, although Jeremy L. Carter was vaccinated against stupid 19, he still caught the virus at the end of August, Luke detailed. He became sick enough to be hospitalized at Rochester General Hospital and continued to deteriorate to the point where he was placed on a ventilator. After consulting with Carter's primary doctor, Carter and his daughter Jill Alvarado wanted to try the drug that shall not be named, although the drug is not approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration to treat stupid 19, and the FDA explicitly warned against using it because, you can't make profits on a drug that only costs 30 cents a piece. Some doctors have prescribed the drug that shall not be named for stupid 19 patients. However, the hospital refused to administer the drug to Carter, even though the family said they would gladly sign away any right to file a malpractice lawsuit. This forced Alvarado to sue Rochester Regional Health, where Rochester General Hospital falls, and she was successful. A judge sided with the family and ordered the hospital to administer care. Still, though, Rochester General Hospital refused. Rochester Regional Health filed an appeal on Saturday, and a hearing was scheduled for Monday, Luke's report said. Carter died on Sunday. Comply or die. Attorney Ralph Lorgio, who sued Rochester Regional Health on behalf of Carter, told Luke he filed dozens of lawsuits against health system in Western New York alone over the past few months. Every case I have is a person in a hospital dying, he said. What is the harm if a hospital is done with its protocol? Lorgio has already filed 3 suits against Rochester Regional Health to get them to administer the drug that shall not be named, including Carter's suit. Each of those times we were successful, and those people went home. Interesting. They went home. They survived. In this situation we sued, we got a court order and the hospital okay, first of all, let's go here. Copy. Let's see. What is it? Let's go FTG. Oops. What the hell did I just do there? That's not what I wanted to do. Sorry, gang. FTG. Rochester Regional Health. Absolutely. Each of those times, as consistently highlighted by the Daily Wire's Ash Show, the media have run numerous fallacious stories concerning the drug that shall not be named. This is not to say that anyone should be rushing to take the human version of the drug that shall not be named to treat stupid 19. That's a decision between you and your doctor. Yeah. But the way that media has covered this drug has been a disaster, show detailed last month. The latest failure comes from KTSM, which cited a 2011 study from Nigeria that was small and questionable to claim that the drug that shall not be named causes infertility in 85% of men. Less than a day after the original article was published, the outlet retracted the story and added an editor's note in its place. And here's the retraction. For the record, a national story regarding the drug that shall not be named and a study regarding its effect on men's reproductive health that KTSM published has been removed from our website. Concerns over the scientific research methods, the veracity of the original peer-reviewed report, and public statements by the Food and Drug Administration saying that infertility is not a known side effect of the drug that shall not be named led to our editorial board decision to remove the story. Now, do you remember hearing that story? Boy, there were people sharing that shit everywhere. Remember that? Let's just FTG KTSM. Yeah, I remember because people were, they're laughing all over the internet, and then it was retracted like within 12 hours because the story was bullshit. Good morning, Jaded Emerald. How you doing? Thanks for being here. So anyway, FTG to all those peoples there. Okay, thank you, by the way. Let me do some thank yous here real quick. Thank you, Tyler F. and Somnambule Nation, for tweeting out the show and or retweeting the show, and then Somnambule Nation tweets out the show on their own each day, so I do appreciate that. And if you would be so kind, I'd appreciate if you share the show. You know what? In the last 28 days, we've grown by, I think, 18 subscribers. That's good. I don't know if I'm going to make my goal by 2,000 though by the end of the year at that rate. So I could use some help. So I don't know who you got to tell, but tell somebody to come see what we're doing over here. I would appreciate it. All right. Let's back to more FTGs. We're going to stick to the kind of COVID news FTGs. The Los Angeles City Council has approved a vax mandate to enter indoor restaurants, gyms, and other businesses. Well, I guess I won't be visiting my mother where she lives for a while. The Los Angeles City Council voted 11-2 on Wednesday to pass a new ordinance mandating most patrons provide evidence of vaccination against stupid 19 to enter the indoor portion of a covered location of numerous businesses, including restaurants, bars, personal care establishments, and shopping centers. According to KFI News, retail establishments, including grocery stores and pharmacies, are not included in the draft ordinance. Well, they'll let you buy food, I guess, and I guess getting your medicine that they really don't want you to get if it's the medicine that shall not be named. A spokesperson for Democratic Mayor Eric Garcetti, by the way, we can just how about we can go ahead and give Eric Garcetti an FTG because he's a dickhead. FTG, Eric Garcetti. The Los Angeles Times reported under the new law, businesses must require proof of. Now they're putting the onus on the businesses. Under the new law, businesses must require proof of vaccination when customers enter indoor facilities starting November 4th, including coffee shops, gyms, museums, bowling alleys, spas, and a range of other venues. Now, I wonder how many of these businesses are actually, how many of these businesses do you think will enforce this, like, really, really stringently? I mean, so you're telling businesses they have to put a person manning the door of the gym or the grocery store, or not the grocery store, but they have to have someone. They have to have somebody manning the doors to force you to show them their Vax card. You got to be fucking kidding me. The United States, let's see. The covered location is required to cross-check proof of vaccination for each patron who appears to be 18 years of age or older against their photo identification. So not only do you have to show photo ID and a vax card at all these locations. Here, let's see. Here's the ordinance. Okay, let's read this bullshit. Let's see if I can get this up here. Yeah, FTG fascist, no doubt. So here it is. The Los Angeles, here's the thing. Proof of vaccination required for a patron to enter indoor portion of a covered location. Beginning October 21st, 2121, a covered location shall display prominently on its presence, visible to patrons prior to entrance, an advisory notice informing patrons that beginning on November 4th, 2021, proof of vaccination is required to enter any indoor portion of a covered location. A covered location shall require each patron to provide proof of vaccination upon entering an indoor portion of a covered location. A covered location shall require proof of vaccination upon the patron's first in-person interaction with staff. A covered location is required to cross-check proof of vaccination for each patron who appears to be 18 years of age or older against photo ID. Subject to the exemptions below, a patron shall not be permitted to enter an indoor portion of a covered location without proof of vaccination. A patron may be exempt from the requirements of this section if they are entitled to any applicable law to a reasonable accommodation for a medical condition or restriction to sincerely held religious belief as follows. To be eligible for an exemption due to a medical condition or restriction, the patron must provide the covered location with a self-attestation that the patron has a medical condition or restriction that qualifies the patron for the exemption. To be eligible for the exemption due to a sincerely held religious belief, the patron must provide the covered location with a self-attestation that the patron has a sincerely held religious belief that qualifies the patron for the exemption. If a covered location determines the patron has met the requirement for an exemption pursuant to this section because of medical condition or restriction or has sincerely held religious belief, the covered location shall require the patron to use a portion of a covered location that is not an indoor portion. If such use is not available, a patron may be permitted to enter an indoor portion of a covered location by providing proof of negative COVID-19 test and photo identification. So, oh my God, a patron who does not provide proof of vaccination and who does not qualify for an exemption may use the portion of a covered location that is not an indoor portion. A patron who does not provide proof of vaccination may be allowed to enter an indoor portion of a covered location for brief and limited periods of time to use the restroom, to order, pick up, or pay for food and drink to go, or perform necessary repairs, provided that the patron wears a well-fitting mask at all times while in the indoor portion of the covered location to the extent feasible. A covered location may offer service outside for a patron who does not provide proof of vaccination, including curbside pickup, drive-through delivery, and outdoor seating and dining. This section does not apply to a non-resident performer who... Oh, get this. Yeah, ID is racist. Oh my God. They're going to make you have an ID? IDs are racist. Thank you, Mike Savage. IDs are racist. Wow. Again, disproportionately affecting Black, Indigenous people of color. This section does not apply to non-resident performer who enters a covered location for purposes of performing or competing. Wow, that's an interesting exemption. So for example, rich rock stars who play at Tony at little events, around town, they can come in because they are a performer. Oh. Again, it's Los Angeles. They're a performance-driven town. So it gives you the proof of vaccination required to enter an indoor portion of any city facility, proof of vaccination or proof of negative COVID-19 test required to attend an outdoor large event. So even outdoor large event that is ticketed or held in a defined space with controlled points of entry must provide proof of COVID-19 juice. And then third page, compliance. Oh, here's the compliance. The An operator of a covered location, an outdoor at large event, may be issued a citation for a violation of any provision of this article shall be subject to the following fines. A warning or notice to correct the first violation, an administration fine of $1,000 for a second violation, administration fine of $2,000 for a third violation, an administrative fine of $5,000 for a fourth, and each subsequent violation. This section shall be enforced beginning November 29, 2021. Good God. This moral panic is insane. Anyway, FTG to the Los Angeles City Council. Cynical Lindsay, what's up? Nice to have you back. I miss seeing your name up here. And also, good morning, Special K on Acid. How you doing? Good to see you. All right. Let's see. Next. Oh, and this is an interesting article because this is something that I tend to talk about because it's amazing to me that there's still I get it. 700,000 people have died in the United States. Well, let's just read this article because this is good. Millions have gotten COVID. Almost none have died. In questioning Health and Human Services Secretary Xavier Becerra during a Senate hearing last week, Senator Rand Paul made a comment. Do they have a link to this? Yes, they do. Is this, let me see if this is. Yeah, this is from the. Senator Rand Paul made a comment whose significance has largely gone unnoticed in challenging the Biden administration's juice mandates that demand everyone get juiced, even those who have gotten the Wuhan flu and thus have natural immunity far better than any of the vaccines. Rand said the following to Becerra, quote, "You presume somehow to tell me over 100 million Americans who have survived the stupid 19 that we have no right to determine our own medical care?" Paul asked. "You alone are on high and you've made these decisions? A lawyer with no scientific background, no medical degree? This is an arrogance coupled with an authoritarianism that is unseemly and un-American. You, sir, are the one ignoring the science." Thank you, Senator Paul. That is the exactly correct, by the way, in advance. We'll just go ahead and do FTG to Xavier Becerra. One of the most of the reporting of this hearing and Paul's questioning of Becerra has focused on the juice mandate and the obvious absurdity of forcing everyone to get it even when there is no need. The highlighted words, however, are far more important. This supposedly deadly disease, as it is almost always described in mainstream news reports, kills almost no one. Now, that's a weird statement when there have been 700,000 deaths in the United States, but let's be clear, that's a 0.2% of the people who've gotten it. Moreover, Paul's statistic is likely less than the true total, as this was the number of people estimated to have survived the 19 at the end of 2020, 10 months ago. Since then, it is certain that this number has risen considerably and could easily now include half the population of the United States. Let us repeat that. At the end of 2020, almost 1/3 of the population of the United States had survived the Chinese lung AIDS, with the number of excess deaths only slightly greater than some of the worst flu seasons. As I noted in an essay in April 2021, that's this writer, quote, "When compared to the entire population, the number of stupid 19 deaths is a pinprick. There are presently about 330 million people alive in the United States. 83,000 deaths equals a death rate of 0.00025, which means 99.975% of the population survived during that first week of January. Even more revealing, had the number of deaths been what the CDC expected, about 60,000, then 99.92% of the population would have survived instead, a difference of 0.007, a percentage difference so small that scientists would normally consider it what they call an insignificant number. Thus, almost every single person who's gotten the stupid 19 since the start of this epidemic has survived it. Though the virus does appear to be somewhat more difficult to deal with than the flu, it does appear somewhat more deadly to the elderly and the sick and the obese, it is still, in general, mimics the flu in its potency. Just like the flu, it passes through most of the population with relatively little harm. We need to stop cowering in fear over this virus. We need to do what Norway, Sweden, and Denmark have done and lift all mandates and restrictions and begin to once again live like adults, unafraid of our shadows. Most of all, we need to recognize that the Wuhan lung AIDS is not the killer it has been sold as. It is a respiratory disease that must be treated if you get it, but in most cases it will do little harm and you will return to normal shortly thereafter. This is true. Well, that's my experience and about 120 other million Americans. So, you know, it's who wrote this? This was by Robert Zimmerman. If you're not familiar with him, you can look it up. Not Robert Zimmerman as in, what's the guy? Who's Robert Zimmerman. That's also, what's his name's real name? That guy. What is his name? I can't think of his name. The singer, songwriter, folk singer. Really popular. It sings like this. Oh, 'cause they. But it never understands what it says. And someone will type out the name. Thank you, Bob Dylan. I couldn't think of it. All right, let's move on. Dr. Rand, and this is if you want to see Rand Paul. Well, here let's watch this Rand Paul clip again because it's precious, and I wonder how long it is.
Are you familiar with?
No, we're not going to watch the whole thing. If you're going to watch Rand Paul rip into Becerra for 6 minutes, it's beautiful to watch. So there you go. Studies indicate Pfizer's stupid 19 vaccine effectiveness decreases after 6 months. Oh no! I might get a disclaimer on this video after quoting this. A study released in the Lancet Medical Journal found that the efficacy of the Pfizer BioNTech stupid 19 juice fell below 50% after 6 months of the second dose. Fan-fucking-tastic. That's perfect. Oh, my Bob Dylan. I don't listen to white music.
That's right.
It's Black Hebrew Israelite. Okay. The data indicates the decline was not dependent on the strain of the stupid 19 causing an infection. The Pfizer funded study found that Pfizer juice was 88% effective in the first month after full vaccination, but dropped to 47% effectiveness at about 6 months. So that probably explains why so many people are who've been jabbed, fully juiced up, are still getting COVID-19 because it's only about 47% effective after 6 months. The juice was also found to be highly effective against the Delta variant, which was found to be over 90% effective in the first months before dropping to 53% effective after 4 months. So it doesn't last, unlike natural immunity that we're not supposed to talk about. However, company representatives assert that the data also shows that the juice helped prevent hospitalizations and deaths, and the third booster shot will offer reliable protection against the serious Delta variant. Well, wait a minute. Are these researchers from Pfizer? These are researchers from Pfizer saying this? Oh, so now the third jab is suddenly going to save you. FTG Pfizer. I can't imagine Pfizer's going to make a dime off of that too, because they're going to give it the third jab away for free. It's free juice after the second one. After the second one, it's free for life. Good God. No, I did not cover this Texas school shooting. I'm probably not going to get to that one today. Thank you, Jess, for asking Jada Clay. And good morning, Jada Clay. Researchers determined that the waning immunity had to do with the amount of time since an individual was given the second juice rather than due to the highly infectious Delta strain. However, company representatives assert that the data also shows that the juice helped prevent hospitalizations and deaths. Oh, did they now? And the third booster shot will offer reliable protection against the serious Delta variant. I already read that. Quote, however, the study published Monday states vaccine effectiveness against hospital admission for infections with the Delta variant remained as high as 93% for all ages 6 months after fully juiced. Okay. The new study comes just weeks after the U.S. Food and Drug Administration approved a booster dose for a high-risk population. A booster dose will effectively improve the vaccine's efficacy. Yeah, it'll take a person who is 80 and have their same resistance as a person who's 50, because that's what they learned in the study in Great Britain. Anyway, while all of this data seems to be positive, the data also reveals the juice is not 100% effective against death. The review of the numbers of Deep Blue Vermont shows that 76% of September juice or Super 19 deaths. Okay, someone said this the other day, and I agree with this. So they say 76%. Listen to this again, and I'll open the link. 76% of Stupid 19 deaths in Vermont in September were juice breakthrough cases. Now, someone made this point the other day, and I don't remember who it was, but I'm going to reiterate that point. It's not an original thought of mine. Can we stop calling these breakthrough cases? If 76% of the Stupid 19 deaths in September in Vermont were just cases, because it's not even a breakthrough anymore. It's not even a breakthrough anymore. 76% of September Stupid 19 deaths were people who were fully vaccinated. I wonder what percentage of people in Vermont are fully vaccinated. I'm going to guess it's right around 76%. Would you guess? Because I mean, in the United States, they're probably more vaccinated than other states, I'm guessing, and because in the United States, I think is around, between 50 and 60% fully juiced up. 76. Again, I'm going to read this again because this is amazing. In Vermont, 76% of September Stupid 19 deaths were fully vaccinated. God. Just 8 of the 33 Vermonters who died of Stupid 19 in September were unvaccinated. The Vermont Department of Health and Safety said Wednesday. Health Department spokesman Ben Truman said most of the juice breakthrough Stupid 19 fatalities were elderly. Is it really breakthrough if a vast majority of them are already fully vaccinated? It's not a breakthrough anymore. Because they were among the first juiced, Vermont's elderly have had more time to potentially become a vaccine breakthrough case, he said. Expressed in percentages, 76% of Vermont COVID-19 fatalities were breakthrough cases. It's not a breakthrough of 76% of them. A breakthrough case would be like 3% of them. Under 5%, 10% would be a breakthrough case. 76% of the deaths are breakthrough cases? Give me a break. As of Tuesday, 88% of all eligible Vermonters, 88% of all eligible Vermonters ages 12 and over had been vaccinated with at least one shot. Well, that's as of Tuesday, but we're talking about September. So that's giving them another month. Okay, or whatever. At Tuesday's press conference, the Department of Health's September mortality statistics did not show a vaccinated, unvaccinated breakdown. Well, they don't want to do that. Despite recent emphatic references by Governor Phil Scott and the Health Department Commissioner Mark Levine to a pandemic of the unvaccinated, the per capita rate of vaccinated breakthrough deaths has risen in recent week. So that explains a lot, doesn't it? Because, like I said, who did they vaccinate first in Vermont? The elderly. All these people who died in September were elderly, and 76% of those were cases that people who are fully vaccinated. So they're not getting that. They don't have the numbers yet. They're just starting. These numbers are just starting to roll in, and I just say, the ancient Chinese philosopher, holy shit. Oh my gosh. My God. FTG. Governor Phil Scott. Good Lord. I'm going to keep an eye out for reports of illnesses and death in those who received the highly touted booster shot. I would not be surprised if such reports started appearing 4 to 6 months from now based on current patterns. Yeah, it's a pattern. It's obvious. So, oh my gosh. So I guess it's not a pandemic of the unvaccinated. 76%. I opened that article too. This is from Vermont Daily. This is the Vermont Daily Chronicle. 76 of September COVID deaths were breakthroughs or just cases now. They're just cases. Good Lord. Let's keep going here. What else we got? I think are we getting away from, yes. Oh, yes. So we talked a lot about this yesterday, Republican age. Now, about the Attorney General of the United States and beginning to weaponize the FBI against parents who don't go along with what their schools are saying. And it's about that time. Anyway, real quick before I move on, thank you, Baby Vazo, for sponsoring the show again with a bullet, and you are still the Streamlabs Superstar Donor of the Day. Baby Vaso says, maybe I'm missing something here, but it appears people on both sides detest their counterpart news channels, example being MSNBC and Fox News. Isn't this the true issue in the country? Both sides ignore the other's MSM and their independent media. That could be, for example, now I know that in my family member of mine's home, the only news channel that is ever on in that home is MSNBC, and that person's political views end up mirroring and matching the talking points of everyone who goes on MSNBC. Now I, being one of who has to follow many news trends from various news sources, I don't really watch cable news. I just pull clips from all the different cable news stations on my screens here. And I read a lot more than I even watch cable news because I like more in-depth details about different articles and different subjects and things. And really, unfortunately, the limitation of cable news is their ability to go in depth about anything, but they can certainly give you plenty of sound bites about everything. And so I laugh because sometimes I will say something to somebody who only watches MSNBC that is clearly a fact, that's an empirical fact, and they're like, that's not true. Where did you hear that? No. You watching Fox News? And I don't watch Fox News. Or I'll watch. The same thing, though, sometimes with a Fox News listener who they only watch Fox News. That's their only source of news. And I'll say something, well, what about this? What about that? And they'll be like, well, that can't be true. What are you watching? Are you a dirty lib watching that? And I'm like, no. Just it's a factor that you got to think about. So I think the fact that the idiot box is sometimes the only person's source of news is tough. So you don't get a lot of details and facts and different. For example, this article from about the 76% of vaccinated of COVID deaths in Vermont were vaccinated people. That's something that you're never going to hear, particularly on CNN, NBC, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, the Los Angeles Times. It'd probably be page 36 in the New York Times and middle of the inside last page on the Washington Post, and you're never going to hear it. So it can be a problem that when you go into team politics, team A and team B, and sometimes the people in that team only see certain information. Yeah, it does. It creates problems. That's why forums, places, people talking, people being allowed to speak their mind is important. And unfortunately, a lot of the social media companies are not allowing one side of the argument to speak their mind. And I'm going to guess that the people who have control within those departments, it's not always necessarily the social media company, but it's the minions who work for the social media companies who will ban somebody, and then 2 days later the social media coming out, oh, that was a mistake. Well, why is it always a mistake against one side of the political spectrum? You know what I mean? So that's where the harm comes in, because some moron who taps out algorithms goes and puts a disclaimer on somebody's actual factual statement on social media because they only see news from their reliable source. So anyway, it's kind of silly there. Okay. Oh, real quick too. Thank you again, Baby Vaza. The issue with China Belt Road is apparently that no one cares, no one radar left or right, but independent right wingers. It's all over the place, but you get you what you write. Independent Times sees it. Okay. Type that into the chat because I'm not sure what you mean there. The issue with China's Belt Road is apparently on no one radar. Oh, okay. Left or right, but independent right wingers, it's all over the place. Okay, I don't know what that's. That's not on my radar either. So maybe you have I don't know if you're on Twitter or any of the other social media. If you have information on that, send it to me or put it on the Discord. Get on the Discord and put it on the Discord, and we'll figure that out. All right, let's keep going here. Republican AG's forced. So about the teachers. So they're going to sick the FBI and the Justice Department on parents who protest at school board meetings and aren't really causing the violence that they supposedly are causing. Republican AG's joined forces to warn Garland against weaponizing the FBI to target parents. Hey, give them a cheer. Republican attorneys general across the country criticized Attorney General Merrick Garland for inserting the federal government into protest against school boards that centered on mask mandates and critical race theory. In recent months, there's been a disturbing spike in harassment. This is the memo that the Attorney General sent out. In recent months, there has been a disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence against school administrators, board members, teachers, and staff who participate in the vital work of running our nation's public school, Garland wrote in a memo sent on October 4th that announced the formation of a task force. Prior to the memo being issued, the National School Boards Association asked the Biden administration to intervene, which we read that letter yesterday. So then they go... Let's see, this is their, as the threats grow and news of extremist hate organizations showing up at school board meetings. Yeah, they have, I'm sorry, did they ever give any examples of extremist hate organizations showing up at school board meetings? I don't know if they even gave any examples. They say they did, but whatever. The Biden administration's intervention drew fire from Republican attorneys general. Quote, Biden Department of Justice is weaponizing its resources against parents who dare to advocate for their children. This dangerous federal overreach imposes a chilling effect on free speech by criminalizing dissent, Missouri Attorney General Eric Schmidt said in an October 5th release, adding, I will always advocate for parents and will continue to push back against unprecedented federal overreach because the FBI has no business dealing with local school boards. I'm sorry. In a letter sent to Garland, Schmidt claimed the Attorney General had ordered the FBI, all U.S. attorneys, and other members of the Justice Department to investigate and prosecute parents as domestic terrorists for daring to advocate for their kids. Other GOP Attorney General also took aim at Garland's memo. Quote, a threat of physical harm against a public official is a criminal act. It is not part of public discourse. Ohio Attorney General Dave Yost told the Daily Caller News Foundation via its spokesman. It is also not a federal case unless there is a conspiracy across state lines or some such. It is not the federal business, government's business, or any more than a bar fight. And Merrick Garland knows better. Yost went on to urge public officials to call local law enforcement if they got threats. It seems as if Attorney General Garland is following the playbook of a partisan administration and weaponizing both the Department of Justice and the FBI by threatening parents who simply do not want their children to be indoctrinated by a Marxist ideology that divides children into groups of oppressed and oppressors while simultaneously teaching our students that America is fundamentally evil. A statement from Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita provided to the Daily Caller News Foundation said President Biden's use of the Justice Department to investigate is grossly inappropriate, nothing more than a political stunt at taxpayers' expense. Threats of violence to anyone, including local school board members, will not be tolerated, and my office will work with local law enforcement to prevent and prosecute any such criminal conduct, Arkansas Attorney General Leslie Rutledge told the DCNF in a statement released. So anyway, lots of these attorney generals are just ripping dickhead Merrick Garland to shreds. FTC Merrick Garland. Oops, what did I do there? Did I spell that right? I put an extra something there. Garland. And thank you, Black Hebrew Israelite.
That's right.
For sponsoring the show with the little Shaq attack. Good morning. It says, it's funny that Democrats are... Wait a minute, hang on, I got to get ready for this. It's funny that Democrats are returning to their old ways. In the good old days, Democrats wanted segregation by race, but the party switched. Now they want segregation by vaccinations.
That's right.
Not like that doesn't affect us, Negars. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I got you.
That's right.
You've been watching HP too long. Anyway, thank you for sponsoring the show. No, they want segregation by both race and vaccination. And so now they're going to be subsetting certain races by their vaccination status. So it's just amazing because they want special places for people of color to have their own special spaces and shit like that. Okay. Anyway. Let's see. Parents and rights, children. Yeah, the attorney generals are not having it, and fuck Merrick Garland. Sorry. Let's see here. Expert testifies. Oh, so I just brought this up because I didn't follow the hearing yesterday for Kyle Rittenhouse, and the self-defense acts of Kyle Rittenhouse. I'm not sure if I'm even allowed to say that, but I said it anyway. Expert testifies that shootings by Kyle Rittenhouse were justified. Kyle Rittenhouse shot 3 rioters in Kenosha, Wisconsin last year. Today, an expert testified in a pretrial hearing, echoing what most of us has long suspected. All 3 shootings were justified. There's a couple articles here. I'll open the other one too. Kyle Rittenhouse's according to Rittenhouse armed with one of those scary semi-automatic rifles shot 3 men who were attacking him as rioters and arsonists sat Kenosha over the police shooting and sexual assault suspect Jacob Blake. Blake, who is black, as if we didn't know, resisted arrest and was retrieving a knife from his car when Kenosha police shot him 7 times. Blake survived, but is now in a wheelchair. Kamala Harris told Jacob Blake she was proud of him. I'm sorry, I can't do her hyena cackle. By the way, good morning, Jesse Leon and Furry Kitten, and Fight for Your Rights. She didn't explain whether she was proud of him for sexually assaulting his ex-girlfriend or for resisting arrest. Damn. I need to, here, wait a minute. I need this right now. Hang on. I haven't quite added it to my soundboard, but I have it on my computer here. So anyway, that's hilarious. Was that really loud? I don't even know. Anyway, in the aftermath of the shootings, lefty news outlets hiding the fact that Blake was a sexual assault suspect tried to portray Rittenhouse as a bloodthirsty vigilante. He spent some time in the Kenosha jail for the shootings after he turned himself in and to his hometown police in Antioch, Illinois, which is 8 miles across the border from Kenosha. Self-defense expert John Black testified after watching videotapes of Rittenhouse being chased by an armed mob that Rittenhouse, then 17 years old, was justified in all 3 shootings. A citizen in that position, given those indicators, would it be reasonable for them to believe they were about to be assaulted? I would argue yes, Black said. The Kenosha riots were immortalized by CNN's now infamous fiery but mostly peaceful coverage, where rioters were also seen pelting police with projectiles. Rittenhouse has taken heat not just for shooting rioters who were swarming him, one of whom struck him with a skateboard, but because he is from out of state, all of 8 miles away where he lives. Some believe he had no reason for being Kenosha, though he insists he was there to help defend a friend's place of business. Also, there was some debate as to whether or not Rittenhouse, 17 at the time of the shootings, was allowed to have a semi-automatic rifle. His lawyers argue that due to hunting laws, he was allowed to legally possess one. And his trial starts next month. Well, good luck to Kyle Rittenhouse, because I'm sure I'll get banned for that. Anyway, thank you, Baby Vazo, for another donation and sponsoring the show, who says, sorry to keep derailing, guys, but I'm frustrated. There are a lot if anti-New York, Portland, and Cali sentiment amongst right-wing people saying, don't come over here and make our state blue. But what about our Republicans fleeing those states? It can't go both ways. Well, what? Okay, okay. A lot if anti-New York, Portland, Cali said, well, that would be, if people are Republicans fleeing those states, then they're not coming to make your state blue, right? They're coming. They're going to escape the blue state. So that's fine. Nothing wrong with that. Know what I mean? You follow me? You got me? You feel me? So I'm fine. I mean, if just, I'm not anti-New York. I have relatives in Portland that are ready to leave. They are so ready to leave. And I don't know that they'll make our state blue if they came here. I wouldn't care if they came here. Anyway. All right. Let's keep going here. And there is a report here. Just another article from the Locals story, where this guy testified that Rittenhouse was reasonable to shoot. And if you want to go into more detail, it is right here. It'll be in the tab down below, as long as I don't have another glitch like yesterday. By the way, thank you, Baby Vazo, again for sponsoring the show. You know how much I appreciate you. All right. I'm doing pretty good for time here. I should be able to get through the rest of these. More. Now, another reason to FTG Joe Biden. Biden starts flying Afghans to Pennsylvania after a measles outbreak in U.S. bases. Yay. President Joe Biden has restarted flying thousands of Afghans to the United States through the Philadelphia International Airport in Pennsylvania after flights had been halted due to a measles outbreak by Afghans on multiple U.S. military bases. Apparently they're not, they don't have the measles juice. Afghans will now resume boarding international flights from overseas to land in the U.S., where they will be resettled as refugees across 46 states, the Associated Press confirmed. The flights will exclusively land in Philadelphia. So Jimmy and, Gunfox is no longer there. But anyway, look out, Jimmy. If y'all know Jimmy from Philly, he's my dude. Biden's massive resettlement operation currently has about 53,000 Afghans living in the U.S. bases in Wisconsin, Texas, New Mexico, Indiana, New Jersey, and Virginia. The administration hopes to bring at least 95,000 Afghans to the U.S. in total over the next 12 months. Now, I'm not going to say that this is a completely bad thing, okay? If they were vetting people the way they're supposed to, and they're getting people who helped us while we were there out, I've got no problem with that, as long as they realize that the culture here is slightly different than the culture there, and they need to assimilate a little bit, okay? We don't need to assimilate to them. We need them to assimilate to us. And if they were helping us in Afghanistan, I don't have a problem with that. If they kids and whatever, and they could go to school and whatever. But can we vet the motherfuckers first and make sure that, they demand that we have the Fauci juice to be able to go into a damn restaurant or gym? Are they doing the same with these people? Are they forcing them? I'm just curious. Are they, because measles, come on, man. Measles hardly ever breaks out anywhere. Anyway. As part of the operation, Afghans are flown to Philadelphia International Airport and Dulles International Airport in Virginia before being taken to U.S. bases, where they live temporarily while completing their vetting and immigration processing before getting... Why are we bringing them here to do the vetting process? Don't we have bases in Germany and other places in Europe that we could put them and do the vetting process there? And why is it that they have to come here? Aren't there more places in the Middle East that are friends of ours where they would be much better off resettling than here? Anyway, but again, I'm not completely against it if they were helping us and they're fully vetted. I don't mind, but damn. Late last month, the Center for Disease Control and Prevention revealed that some Afghans on the U.S. bases had spurred outbreaks of measles, varicella, mumps, tuberculosis, malaria, leishmaniasis, hepatitis A, and the stupid 19. The outbreaks had halted flights of Afghans to the U.S. from overseas. Well, perfect. On Monday, the Department of Homeland Security announced that it had completed its nationwide vaccination against measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella for Afghan arrivals, and thus stated that flights would resume this week. Well, fan-fucking-tastic. Wait a minute. Did you notice something that was conspicuously missing from that list? What was conspicuously missing from that list? I'm going to read the list again of the vaccinations against list. Measles, mumps, rubella, and varicella for Afghan arrivals. Something was missing there. The Fauci juice. They didn't give them the Fauci juice? Why? I just don't understand. There continues to be no requirement for newly arrived Afghans to receive one of the 3 available Fauci juices. The administration has said that about 84% of Afghans arriving in the U.S. and still overseas awaiting resettlement have received a Fauci juice. Oh, they say they have. Doesn't sound like it's a requirement. Last week, as part of the government funding bill, 49 House and U.S. and Senate Republicans helped Democrats pass a plan that critics have said open unlimited flow of Afghan refugee resettlement to the U.S. and funds taxpayer-funded welfare for the new arrivals. Well, yeah, it does. But, it's funny because we certainly aren't, we don't seem to be concerned about that on the border, though, now, do we? We just come on in. Come on in. Come on in. Anyway, I don't even know who to give the FTG. I guess I gave it to Joe Biden for that one. Next. Oh, and speaking of the border, Apparently, there's another Haitian migrant caravan leaving for the border in 2 weeks. Wait a minute. They even know when they're going to leave? How did they? Wait a minute. Okay. Let's stop just at the headline here. Listen to this headline again and tell me what the problem might be. Tell me what the problem. Another Haitian migrant caravan leaving for border in 2 weeks. A Haitian migrant caravan. What's the obvious question here? I'm going to give you a few minutes as I just scroll through this article. Haitian migrant caravan leaving for the border in 2 weeks. What should be the operative question that would immediately come to mind when you hear a Haitian migrant caravan leaving for the border? And I'll just give you about a minute because I know there's a little bit of lag in what you type and what I read in this video. So I'm just going to go, they booked for reservations through Trivago. Oh, well. Oh my gosh. All aboard the migrant caravan. Choo choo. There's an operative question here. A Haitian migrant caravan heading for the border. Get off my screen, Candace Owens. Anybody? What's the very obvious question? At least they are considered enough to RSVP for their spot on the bridge. Which border does Haiti share with the U.S.? Again, there it is. Thank you, Furry Kitten. Hello, pissed off Shih Tzu. Furry Kitten, you get your winner chicken dinner. How the actual fuck does a Haitian migrant caravan get to the U.S. border through the Gulf of Mexico? Thank you to Rydeos for sponsoring the show. I appreciate you very much. Who says this is a cultural exchange program? Leave Americans in Afghan, bring in 70,000 plus Afghan children to spend time in our communities. Now I know why school boards wanted Lawn Boy to be in school libraries. Good God. Oh, good God. Yes. Thank you to Rydeos. Love you. Love you. Yeah. Where exactly do the Haitian migrants start their caravan from to get to the U.S. border? Anyway, here's the story in the video. Oh, wait a minute. Hang on. Texas is bracing for an influx of 60,000 this time. It was just 15 or 20,000 last time. Now 60,000 more. Texas is bracing for an influx of 60,000 Haitian migrants expected this week. But that's already the influx. Now we're going to get but another caravan of Haitians has already crossed into southern Mexico, and its leader, an American, is vowing to lead the migrants to the United States-Mexican border, leaving in just over 2 weeks. A migrant advocate in southern Mexico says a Haitian caravan will depart for the U.S. border from Tapachula around October 25th, with or without the clearance from Mexico. Border Report noted earlier this week that, adding that the advocate, Irina Mujica, is an American citizen who works with the nonprofit Pueblos Sin Fronteras, or People Without Borders. Aww. Good for her. In a video posted to social media, Mujica declares war on the U.S.-Mexico border. Quote, "We are leaving in 20 days, he said. We prefer to march with papers. And this time, with papers or without paper, we are ready for war. If the National Guard comes and they are cowardly enough to beat women and children, let them prepare because God's hand is with us." End quote. Well, isn't that special? He appears to be referencing the Mexican National Guard, which had a confrontation with Haitian migrants turned protesters last month, forcing many of them back across the border. Well, at least they're doing something. So far, though, Mexican authorities have held off this new migrant caravan, stranding them in southern Mexico, and the migrants and their advocates have been holding rallies and marches in Tapachula in recent days, according to local media, per the Border Report. Mexican authorities Mexican authorities have been policing their own southern border. The Daily Wire reported last month that the Mexican government broke up at least one caravan made up of mostly Central Americans, but including Haitians, intercepting them at the same border city of Tapachula and turning the illegal immigrants back across the border. As of early September, there were 55,000 migrants in shelters in Tapachula awaiting processing. News of another migrant caravan came closely on the heels of a report that 60,000 Haitian migrants are making their way through Central America and could arrive at the U.S. border as early as this week, sending Texas authorities scrambling. So this is 60,000 on top of the 15,000 before? Holy shit. Texas government and law enforcement leaders have stepped up efforts to make up for federal government's absence, and leaders spent the weekend preparing for a possible rush of more than 60,000 Haitian migrants, the Washington Examiner noted. Most of the Haitians have traveled from South America to cross the border rather than traveling to a port of entry. The number of Haitian migrants headed to the U.S. could be 4 times the size of the group that made it to Del Rio last month, leading to chaos as 15,000 people camped out under an international bridge waiting to be taken into federal custody. The Biden administration scrambled to process approximately 15,000 migrants that appeared at the U.S. border near Del Rio and formed a makeshift camp under a bridge earlier this month, prompting harsh criticism from Republicans and even some Democrats. So that was 15,000. We're getting another wave of 60,000. And then there's a group in 55,000 in Tapachula ready to go to fight with the Mexican National Guard over making another caravan. So we're looking at 55, that's 70, 80, 70, 130,000 new Haitian immigrants. Fan-fucking-tastic. Thank you, Baby Vazo. The Haitians were already chilling out in Chile's and Mexico, waiting to come, but when Biden announced there'd be a temporary freeze on deportations, they called up their homies, and now the time to bounce. This is why so many showed up in massive groups. That's Baby Vazo's comment. Yes, so true, and thank you again for sponsoring the show, Baby Vazo. And also to Ideos, I got you there too. Yeah, this is insanity. And it's just going to keep going until we make a policy that we're not going to let them come in if they make it to the border. They need to process outside of Mexico, like the judge said. The judge said you have to keep that policy, but no. We're just going to, they're going to cross anyway. We're not going to do anything to stop them from doing it. Make it harder to cross over that dam that they just walk across. Wow. I got nothing against Haitian people, but I do have a problem with how this is working. This is not working the proper way, and vetted for various. Are they all Haitians, by the way? Or are there people hiding amongst them that could do damage to our country? And Are they all getting their Fauci juice? Oh, no. They aren't checking. They say they're checking. They're not checking. That's bullshit. Here's a great one, and this is more F. Joe Biden, or Let's Go Brandon. I'm sorry, did I say that incorrectly? Let's go Brandon. Afghan gun shops are selling U.S. weapons seized by the Taliban. U.S. weapons and military equipment left behind during the United States withdrawal from Afghanistan are now being sold by gun dealers in the country. The New York Times interviewed weapons dealers in Afghanistan's Kandahar province who said Afghans have been selling an array of U.S. military gear that the Taliban seized from Afghan national troops when they took over the country in August. U.S.-made equipment sold on the black market includes pistols, rifles, grenades, binoculars, and night vision goggles, according to the report. Gun merchants told the Times that the Taliban has been selling off weapons since the end of the insurgency, and that Pakistan is a source of demand for the captured U.S. arms. So you can read the rest. Fantastic. Way to go, Joe. I get tired of typing it, but FTG Joe Biden. Ding. So let's see. Now I have a few articles still open that I'm probably not going to get to, but here's the headlines. There's a mob attacking Trump's lawyer, and they're saying it's more dangerous than anything John Eastman is accused of doing. This week's victim in the campaign to cancel attorneys who committed the sin of representing former President Trump is John Eastman. Eastman wrote 2 opinion memos for President Trump about the Electoral College process. Because they do not like John Eastman's client or his legal reasoning, a swarm of signatories has asked the State Bar of California to investigate whether his representation violated California's legal ethic rules. They're going after all the lawyers. Let's just put it that way. You can read this one later. Also, the Attorney General, Garland's daughter, do you know she's married to the co-founder of the company that sells critical race theory materials? The company Panorama Ed also has connections to Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg. Now, this is all kind of guilt by association, but it's just fascinating how closely connected they are. Now that Eric Garland has decided to sic the FBI and the Department of Justice on parents, well, Garland's conflict of interest is his daughter Rebecca is married to Zan Tanner, co-founder of Panorama. In 2018, that's when they got married. The group's parents, Defending Education, found out Panorama has multi-million-dollar contracts with school districts. Oh, there's a okay. Now this is a conflict. Hey Jimmy, how you doing, man? They're sending all the Afghans through a Philadelphia airport now. I don't know if you heard that. Anyway. I'm sure you're thrilled. You have to go back and watch. Okay, that's interesting. So his son-in-law, Merrick Garland's son-in-law, has millions of dollars in contracts with school districts. Now that is conflict of interest. That even though it's not direct, it's okay. PD previously flagged a $1.8 million contract for Panorama to conduct social and emotional learning monitoring of Fairfax County Public Schools, resulting in data on students. Earlier in September, that number was bumped up to more than $2 million as part of the contract addition with Panorama. Panorama's contract was part of a broader $78.8 million investment of coronavirus relief that FCPS directed towards a, quote, welcoming and, quote, culturally responsive, quote, end quote, environment for students. Its website explains that the funding is intended to support equity. When have you heard the word equity? Run. Equity professional development for school teams and social emotional staff to work directly with departments and school-based teams. That's some word salad for you. A more detailed breakdown of the Fairfax County Public Schools plan showed the majority, $46.2 million, designated for intervention special education teacher contracts, but it also showed a $2.2 million going toward equity PD for school teams. What? And $140,000 something toward equity PD for equity leads, both apparently referring to professional development for faculty and staff. So they're having a lot of equity shit going on, and Panorama is the company they're paying to do it, who is Merrick Garland's son-in-law, thus affecting the income of a very close member of his family. You can read the rest. It is guilt by association, but there is a element of, hey, my daughter's husband makes a lot of money from this shit, and maybe I should go after these people. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Yeah, that's some Hunter Biden shit right there. Speaking of Biden has appointed an avowed critical race theory supporter to the education department. Oops. President Biden appointed an avowed critical... he appointed Precious McKesson, chair of the Nebraska Democratic Party's Black Caucus, as a special assistant to the Department of Education's Office of Communications and Outreach. After Nebraska Board of Regents board member Jim Pillen introduced a resolution to bar critical race theory from the University of Nebraska educational system, McKesson co-authored an August op-ed in which stated, quote, Pillen and other Republicans, including Governor Pete Ricketts, have made CRT a political boogeyman without actually knowing what it is. Simply put, CRT examines social, cultural, and legal issues as they relate to race and racism. Students would be taught about the systemic racism that still exists today and permeates our society. Really? What parts of our society, what systems in particular might you be talking about? Further, CRT is a 40-year-old academic framework, so no one So one has to wonder why the Republican Party is now trying to frame all educational experience that discuss diversity and equity in a negative partisan lens. Because you discuss it in a negative partisan lens for other people, maybe? From our collective experiences, the only answer is to create a wedge between white communities and communities of color, making us the villain rather than having Nebraskans see us as their neighbors and coworkers. No. You're not creating the wedge. Oh my God, you're asking for the wedge. You want the wedge. Everyone in your camp wants a big old wedgie. Okay. And I don't know if that came out right, but anyway, Ricketts and Pillin are also trying to dictate how a person can now. Okay, but anyway, you could read about her. She's a big CRT proponent. Now she's part of the Department of Education. She is the what did they call it? What did you point her? Pointed to what? She has accepted a position in the U.S. Department of Education. Yay! You can read that one. F. Joe Biden. Let's see. Oh, the Rhode Island Association of School Committees to coordinate with FBI and gather information on public meeting issues. Okay. Protests against critical race teaching and COVID-19 related mandates have energized parents around the country. News headlines have been dominated by videos of parents objecting to the way schools and teacher union officials have treated the community. There have been no riots, no looting, and officials have not been chased into bathrooms. Rather, there have been heated discussions, often precipitated by school board officials trying to silence protesters. There have been very few reported cases of violence or threats, and when such incidents have been reported, they have been handled by local law enforcement. Nonetheless, there has been a concerted effort to portray these parent protesters as terrorists and extremists. The National School Board Association letter, which we read yesterday, seeking federal intervention, law enforcement action against people protesting against critical race theory and teaching and COVID-19 school mandates, asserting that protests had risen to the level of threats that need to be treated as an equivalent to a form of domestic terrorism and hate crimes. Well, anyway, there have been, what's this article? In Rhode Island, the Garland memo has already prompted action in Rhode Island to gather information on issues raised at school committee public meetings, confirming the concerns that lawful protests will be reported to the FBI and other law enforcement as part of this national monitoring effort. So the Rhode Island Association of School Committees acted on the Garland October memo early in the morning, October 5th. On October 5th at 8:18 a.m., they forwarded the local Rhode Island school committee officials an article from Politico about the Garland memo. Garland taps FBI in response to disturbing spikes in threats against educators. Really? So anyway, they're already cooperating and gathering data to give to the FBI of people who complain about what they do. Not a good situation. Please, if you're interested, read this article. I'm going to dump the other two. DeSantis has ordered Biden to keep his federal school board cops out of Florida. This man is a saint. Please protect him. And then the other one here, apparently a professor questioned his university's diversity and equity inclusion efforts, and they're going after him in a big way, but I don't have time to get to it. And then the last article in the tabs today, this woman has been appointed. Tracy Stone Manning was confirmed as director of the Bureau of Land Management. This is a woman who almost was put in jail for spiking trees back in the 80s and or in the 90s. And in 2020, she recommended a commentary by her husband suggesting that houses near forest fires should be allowed to burn because they have no business being that close to sacred oaks and esteemed elms. She actually managed to find someone crazier than herself to sleep with. This woman's nut, and she's now the director of the Bureau of Land Management. If you live anywhere near a national forest, you should be worried about this woman. So anyway, I got to call it a day, guys. I do greatly appreciate you being here. Thanks for it's always a pleasure to do this show. If you haven't done so already, please hit the like button and share this stream out amongst your friends and neighbors and even people you don't like, because I think it's funny. And if you would be so kind, you can also, if you're watching on replay, put a comment in the comment section so I know you're here. Hit the like, share, and if you want to sponsor the show, like Baby Vaso, like To Ride Deos, like Black Keeper Israelite, you can do that at any time during. Oh, and Maddie, of course. I almost forgot Maddie. Can't forget Maddie. You can sponsor the show by watching the show on PDawgKnight Live, and up in the right-hand corner, the little donation thing. You don't even have to leave the stream to do it, or you can watch on YouTube and hit SuperChats and give 30% to Susan. That's up to you. That might be Slacker, the one who. How you doing? I'm not a slacker. Anyway, I lost my train of thought. Anyway, and there's other ways to sponsor the show in the description down below. I will have these tabs up during the outro, so if you want to look at any of these articles that we went through today, hopefully I will not have a glitch today. I hope you have a fantastic. You did a super chat. I haven't seen your super chat yet. Did it show up on the screen? Okay, well, we'll see if it's there. I'll watch for it, Jimmy, and if it pops up during the outro, I'll make sure to give you a little mention there. By the way, go subscribe to Jimmy from Philly. Jimmy is the most authentic human on the planet. Love watching him when I get a chance. A lot of time when I'm driving, so I can't be in the chat. But it's Jimmy's a breath of fresh air. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. I gotta go. My name is PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here. Bye bye. Have a fantastic day.
Hey, this is PDawgKnight, and thank you for watching today on the PDawgKnight channel. If you have an observation or remark you'd like to make about this video or my channel, I absolutely welcome you to write it in the comment section down below. I really look forward to hearing from you. And before you go, if you like what you saw but you're not already subscribed, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and definitely click that bell that pops up afterwards so you'll be notified when I post new videos or when we go live. I broadcast my live show, The Morning Night Live, Monday through Friday at 10 o'clock Eastern, 9 o'clock Central. A special thank you to all the supporters of this channel who share our videos on social media and who make donations through Streamlabs, YouTube, Venmo, and Cashapp, which are all linked in the description down below. Thanks again, and until next time, I'm PDawgKnight, and I'm out of here.